and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender of the 19th Judicial Circuit. We are going to be talking about something that is relatively new to our area, but certainly great. And we're going to be talking with Kimberly Eardley, who is the executive director of the program. And everybody's wondering, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're talking about the Parents Academy, correct?
Correct, the Parent Academy.
Okay. And I know you've already warned me. You're 2 weeks on the job, so if you don't know every single detailed question I ask you, we understand. But you certainly can tell us about the program, or whatever. But let's first define this, because it's a very cool initiative. What is the Parents Academy?
The Parent Academy is an actual academy for parents so that they can increase their skills and their supports that they have in the community to better connect them with their children. So the Parent Academy was started with the primary idea and the focus being on the child, but we knew that if we were going to have any impact on our children and our community, we had to support our parents. And that is exactly what the Parent Academy does.
And when did it start?
Started in 2011.
Okay.
And it was an initiative funded by Hoffman Harcourt Mifflin, if I get the Harcourt Mifflin.
But what is
which is
that?
the textbook publisher.
Oh,
so your
okay.
children's biology books, their math books,
Right.
they are actually the publisher.
I remembered Harcourt.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Great organization. And they have several parent academies they've started across the country.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How many are there? Do you know?
I think in total in Florida there's about 4 or 5. So this is
okay.
fairly new. It's something they're looking at continuing to replicate throughout the United States.
Okay. And are there bricks and mortar? Are there, where is the academy? And
I am excited to tell you there is a physical location.
Okay.
It is centrally located in Coral Square in Fort Pierce, right next to Save-A-Lot on US 1, right across from the Speedway that used to be Hess on Emile Street.
Oh, okay.
Familiar with that area?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the old Jefferson Plaza for us natives.
Oh, Coral
Yes.
Square. Okay.
Yes.
So you actually have an actual facility there.
We have a beautiful facility.
Really?
We have our Mike Lannon training room.
Okay.
Our former superintendent actually was very instrumental in getting the Parent Academy started.
Okay.
And we have a formal, beautiful training room that we use for conferences and workshops, and our English as a second language classes that we provide free. We also have different desk areas that are completely set up for parents to come and work on their computer skills, to access the internet, to increase their literacy skills.
to go on their child's Facebook page.
To go on their child. Actually, we do encourage a little bit of snooping around as a parent. It never hurts to be engaged with what your children's doing on social media.
No, obviously,
Yes.
obviously. Now, how long have you had the actual facility?
The
Kim?
facility opened in 2012.
Okay.
And it's still fairly new. Looks beautiful on the inside. It's a very bright, cheery place. Plenty of room for parents and children to come. It is just a matter of getting the word out. I think people don't know about it. And we have laptops that they can utilize. We have a library that is fully stocked for them to use with their children, or just to look at for their own interest and supports.
So, although it's a school, if you will, do you actually have classes?
We
How
do.
does this work?
And I don't know if I want to call it a school. I think I would like to prefer, I know it says academy.
Right.
But as a parent, I prefer to think of it as a support for parents.
Okay.
All around. But yes, we do actually provide academic supports, and we do provide classes. Some of those classes include English as a second language. I
Right.
mentioned that. They also have workshops on being better connected with your children through activities. So we know that increasing communication between parent and child is so very important, and maintaining that communication.
Right.
So what we do is we offer parent classes on easy ways to do that. Fun, interactive ways to engage your child. So those could be fun, silly science experiments. Maybe it's cooking classes. Maybe it's learning about financial literacy and how to start a savings account.
Right.
So we offer a wide variety of different workshops.
Okay, so they're offered tell me about that. Can you just walk in the Parent Academy and say, I need help being a better parent, or is there a curriculum and you sign up for the how to keep a bank statement class, or the
Yes,
so
it's both
yes
of
and
those.
yes,
It is
okay.
both of those, which is what's so fascinating about this initiative, is that we can provide that parent with whatever they need. Meaning, if we don't physically have banking classes, which we do have banking classes, poor example. Let's say if we don't actually have a parenting class, their child's misbehaving.
But you probably do have a parenting class.
We
of
do have
course. Oh,
different
yes.
types of parenting
Right.
classes too. But let's say the child comes to, or the parent comes to us and says, my child is misbehaving. I really don't know how to discipline them appropriately, or I need help because they're acting out in school. And we'll actually sit down with the parent and get an idea of what kind of classes might be most beneficial to them. And if it's something we don't have going on right now, we'll find that in the community for them and refer them to that organization or that type of support service that's out there.
What are your hours, Kimberly?
Our hours currently are Monday through Thursday, but we are open in the evenings. Well, we close the office at 5, but the room is available to them in the evenings as the classes are scheduled. So
Okay.
most nights it's open till about 7, 8 o'clock.
Okay, so what, 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday?
Yes, but we're looking at extending our hours, including on the weekend. That has been the model they've used because they found that parents were engaging in their own self-improvement work when the kids were in school.
Sure.
So they found
or
parents
had jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I have bared witness to the fact that a lot of parents would really benefit from having some place to go on the weekends or after hours. So we are looking at extending our hours. We also provide workshops in the community. So I want to make that clear too.
Well, tell us about that.
Yes. So we can come to you. If you have a church group or you have an organization, let's say, that would benefit from a parenting class, maybe they feel that they would like to learn how to better redirect their children's behavior, or how to have better outcomes at school with their children.
Right.
We could actually bring our curriculum that we have at Parent Academy to your organization and provide those classes to you there.
Wow. Now, what's the cost for that?
They are free.
Oh, and
That
we're
is-
going to get to all the details here in a minute. Do you ever graduate from the academy?
There are several of our courses that will exist past 9 weeks or so, and those
Okay.
are our financial literacy courses, our English as a second language courses, and our pre-GED courses.
Right.
And we have actual graduations with diploma certificates, and we have a nice reception for them, and their family can attend. So yes, it is a true milestone for some of these parents to reach, especially parents who maybe didn't get a chance to graduate high school for whatever reason that may be.
So some of I'm digging this pre-GED thing. So in other words, you actually have classes for those about to enroll to try to get their GED. Yeah, that's
Yes,
important.
it is important because
Yeah.
sometimes they're intimidated by the university or college environment.
Sure.
And going to the school, they may have been out of school for 20 years but have decided to go back. So they need to refresh their skills, or maybe they need test-taking strategies, or maybe they need to increase their literacy. So each person is individually assessed and evaluated when they come in by our staff, and we find the correct curriculum for them so that they are assured success when they go to IRSC to get their GED.
How many students, if you know, and I know you're new on the job, so you may not have all the figures, but how many students, if you know, have been through the academy? When I say students / parents have been through the academy.
Almost 2,000 since its
Really?
inception. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many are, and how much staff do you have?
We have 8 staff. Now, I will tell you that only 3 of us are full-time.
Okay.
But we have contracted educators, too, that go out in the community. And some of these are educators that work for the school board. Some of them are community educators who have been working in the community for years. And they actually will go out in the community, too. So when I say 8 staff, we're in different degrees of employment, meaning some of us may only work 5 hours a week. Some of us are there 40.
Okay, and there's 3 of you that are there 40.
Correct.
Do you actually teach, Kimberly?
I do. I am a former educator. I'm a community-based educator. I have been doing that since 2006. I'm sorry, excuse
It's all
me.
right.
I've been doing that since 2006, and I have always had a focus on parents. It is something that when I became a parent, I became very dedicated to doing. And I have to say that it has benefited my family very well to have learned these as an educator. And
Sure.
I am very passionate about making sure parents know these supports are there for them, because
No, go ahead.
we don't always know that. I think as a parent, sometimes we feel like we're supposed to be experts and we feel like we're supposed to know everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we can be very hard on ourselves. But I'm the first one to tell you that nobody's an expert at parenting and that we all learn every day. And I think that's something that we really reinforce at the Parent Academy too.
Well, and so often parents turn to the wrong people for advice or guidance or help. So then they're worse off than they were before
Right.
by going by their common sense and their gut feeling on what to do. So that's number one. And it, let's face it, there. Somebody once said people should have to get a license to be a parent. You know, I mean, you have to have a license to drive a car. Parenting is much more important and much more, critical and much more difficult than driving could ever be. But we let people have children, and so many of them have no idea, what to do, and certainly don't even know where to, go for help.
And many of them are struggling. They want to be great parents.
Right. They just
don't really know how to get there. And I like to think that we are a source for helping them get there.
What? Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
What is the, okay, so we know you'll go out into the community, to my office, to a church group, whatever, and speak about topics that are important
Relevant,
to
yes.
parenting. But what is the cost for a parent to come to you?
It is free.
Wow.
And it is. Because there is so much value in what we offer the parents. These are courses and education that they would pay if they were to go to a private university or someplace like that. They would have to pay. Even online schooling, they would pay significant cost. But our English as a second language classes, which are usually very, very full, all free. So this helps people actually gain employment or improve their career paths. Same with literacy. Sometimes people may not be able to increase their career because they've reached a certain level that their
Of reading.
Exactly. Their skill set just needs to improve. And they may have to pay hundreds of dollars if they were to go privately somewhere. And we provide all of this free through our funders, which I'd like to acknowledge. We have several funders, such as the Florida Literacy Coalition and the United Way. And Children's Services Council funds our program, the Parent Teen Community Connection.
Okay.
So, and then we have our book publisher, which is Harcourt Mifflin.
And they provide the bulk of the funding, or no?
They do provide a large part of our funding, but we are looking at diversifying our funding so that we can be sustainable. You can't always depend on just one funder, obviously.
Right.
And they have been very generous with us, but I think this is something as a community we've all embraced, and I'd like to see us as a community continue to see it succeed.
And of course, the St. Lucie County School Board may not fund you, but they are supportive and
Very supportive, because they see the benefit of having the parents engaged in their children's education and seeing their children be successful is a huge benefit to the school system as a whole. And they want to be better partners. I think we all would like to see better partnerships between parents and the schools.
Oh, absolutely. Well, now let me ask you this: for those that are watching, and I know people who watch the show on a regular basis have heard me say this a million times, but there are so many good things out there, and you nailed it initially. The problem is making sure people are aware that those things exist, that they're free, that there is help out there, and that's part of the purpose, if you will, or the goal of this show is to get the word out. So somebody who's struggling, who watches the show's friend can say, "Hey, Sarah, I just saw something about Parent Academy. It's free. I know you're having a hard time. Get on down there and talk to them.
Exactly. Word of mouth is the best advertisement.
Let's go back a moment. I know, and you know, because we're in the system, so to speak, the ESOL program, and you didn't say ESOL, I did, the English as a Second Language. Explain to the viewers, because a lot of people don't understand, what does that mean?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you gave me that opportunity. When people first may come to our country, they really don't know English. And a lot of times the children go into the schools without knowing English.
Right.
But the children actually in the school system
Right.
will benefit, and they learn English very quickly. And what we find a lot of times, though, is that these children now have to become the interpreters for their parents, whether they're speaking Spanish or Creole or some other dialect that
Right.
or language. And we don't want the kids to be the primary responsibility or responsible party for interpreting for parents. So we make sure that the parents can come to classes that are proven to be effective, and these classes would include teaching them how to speak, write, and I guess interact on a daily
Right.
basis
Right.
in English language. So our whole goal is that they leave there being able to speak English.
Now, what languages are their first? Do you deal with is the first language? I'm sure
Spanish and Creole.
Both.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Spanish and Creole. They're both important. We have a very large population of both Creole-speaking residents and
absolutely.
Spanish, so it's important that both actually come. And a lot of times we also find that they can benefit from our literacy groups. So sometimes they may come in just for the English as a Second Language class, but then they'll sign up for regular literacy classes where they learn to increase on their reading level, or they actually might sign up for our hands-on banking so that they learn how our American banking system works.
Right, right. It's amazing. People, you know, we are so blessed. We are so highly educated in this country, and it amazes me. Actually, people who I know that I never knew were illiterate. That work, that are successful, that cannot read. Literacy is an issue even in 2015, and you're shocked sometimes, but it's and I'm sure you see that. You know, not only the Spanish speaking that need to have English as their second language, but the Americans that can't read, you know.
Well, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that there's a lot of adults out there who went through the school system who may have had a learning disability,
Right.
who never really had that addressed,
Yeah.
or just never really took the love of learning to read, or had, for whatever reason, may have had issues with learning to read. And at this point in their lives want to come back because they want to read to their children or because they want a better career.
Absolutely.
So it's not just any one person. It's like you said, it's all walks of life, all socioeconomic statuses.
And it definitely is. It's not. It's not just poor people. It's not. Oh no. Question: You've obviously got an alliance and a partnership with the school board and the teachers. All the teachers in our school district are aware of you and.
No, that's actually part of my being on the job 2 weeks. That is part of what I'm actually out there doing. I am trying to make sure everybody is aware because as a resource, I think it's definitely underutilized. And I don't think it's because people wouldn't send parents there. I just think that some of them, you know, our lives are busy. We get sidetracked and we focus on our own projects. And I think it may have just fallen off some people's radar. So,
well, because I was thinking, what better place than the schools than to have a referral system. I mean, teachers see every day, excuse me, children, you know, and parents that come in that are struggling. They know they're good parents. They know their heart's in the right place, but they just need some help. And teachers, and you know, particularly in all the school, public and private school system, are so overwhelmed. What a great place to call you up and say, oh gosh, I've got a parent that really needs your guidance, really needs your help, and can I send them to you? Whatever.
And we do have some schools that are very well aware of what we do and that we're there to support them too. It's just unfortunate. I would say many schools don't, which is why that is one of my first objectives in my new position, is to make sure that every teacher is aware that this is here for them and to support them too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the things that I find very interesting is I've heard from both sides, both parents and teachers. And teachers will say that they're a little intimidated by the parents when it comes to parent-teacher conferences. And then the parents will tell me that they're intimidated by going to the teacher conferences. So I think that is a great dialogue that we need to start having so that we can actually work on that. What kind of barriers do we need to overcome so that parents do feel more comfortable coming in and talking to our teachers?
Well, and so that both parties, the parent and the teacher, actually benefit from those conferences, and it's not just something you do because you're supposed to,
Right. And we have a curriculum. I just found out about that. I'm so excited. I found out yesterday we actually have a curriculum that is for just that. So
Really?
I can't wait to get out there and start touting that all over. Yes.
Oh no, that's wonderful. You mentioned parents and children can. Well, let's back up a minute. Is this for? Is there a limit as to how old your child needs to be to get help? I mean, what if you have a child living at home that has not found their way and they're 26? Can you come to the Parent Academy?
You may come to the Parent Academy. The only requirement is that you be a parent or be a caregiver. So if you're not, because there's plenty of grandparents raising children.
Oh, we know.
So they may have that 26-year-old daughter, but they may have a grandchild at home too. They're welcome to come. It is something that is to be utilized from our community as a whole.
Right.
And the reason for that is, I think, and you will understand this, I think if we really want to impact our community, if we really want to see real significant change when it comes to poverty, when it comes to jobs, then we have to make sure that our parents and our grandparents and caregivers are given the supports and the skills that they need to break those cycle of poverty, to get the jobs that we're bringing into our community,
Absolutely.
to expand our base.
Because otherwise, things never change,
Right.
and the children will be a product of the parents who are poor and et cetera, and uneducated. And we can't. Oh my gosh, we can't afford to have that happen and continue.
No.
And we have such a loving, giving community, and have done such great things by the alliances between the programs and the players that it's amazing. It's amazing.
I couldn't agree more, and I see so many great initiatives that our community leaders are putting forward to really improve upon our community, and I think that this Parent Academy plays a role in a lot of those initiatives, and I just can't wait to really get in there and see the parents embrace it and start utilizing it as that resource.
And I lost my train of thought here a moment. You mentioned about parents and children coming. If a parent has to bring their child, can they?
Of course, yes.
Well, but let's talk about the disruptive nature of that. What if they have they want to come, they want to get help, they want to get guidance, but they have a 3-year-old that's not exactly the perfect child, or they wouldn't be there.
Right. No, we do not have full-time babysitting services there.
Right.
We do have a children's room that they can use, and the children can go in there for short periods.
Right.
It's not something that is actually set up, nor do we have the staff to do full-time sitting.
Right.
So we do recommend for the parent too that if they're coming to any classes that are going to be 45 minutes or an hour, they might want to try to find a private sitter, especially if they're going to be doing any of our intense classes, such as the literacy, where they're going to be reading one-on-one with an instructor or something like that, that they might really want to find a sitter. And we actually do have resources that we can provide them for finding sitters, if that's something.
And that's something we didn't touch on. Your average class, if you will, is 45 minutes?
Our workshops are 45
Oh, that's
minutes, but
great.
yes, because we know parents have to cook dinner. They've got to do laundry. They've got to pick up.
Their attention span isn't that great.
Yes.
Neither is mine.
Yes. And we're very well aware of what adult learners, they have special needs. So we do everything we can to accommodate and make sure that when they're in our classes, they're going to be successful.
Oh, no, that's great. And do you, okay, you have certain slots of time, and we're almost out of time, speaking of time. You have certain slots of time for different topics and stuff. But do you ever make time for a parent out of the norm, you know, that just says, oh my gosh, I can never be here at 11 o'clock in the morning to learn about parenting skills? Do you work around their schedule?
course.
Sometimes do one-on-one
Yes.
teaching?
Well, all
Okay.
of our classes require some type of assessment.
Oh,
So there
okay.
is definite one-on-one, and we do schedule that time. So if a parent says, oh, you know, I know you're open 9 to 5, but I would really like to come at 6:30, that's not an issue. We will make sure that the services are available for them at 6:30.
Wow.
Now, we can't do a whole class or a whole curriculum, obviously, for
Right.
one person, but we will do our best to accommodate them.
Well,
Yes.
now, so how many parents do you have enrolled right now?
Right now, well, that would be in different classes, so that's a
Right.
hard question. I can just tell you that yesterday we ran out of space on our English as a second language class.
Wow.
We had chairs for 25, and we ran out of chairs yesterday. So I'm going to have to say that we were about at 25, 27
Okay, for that class.
for that class,
Yeah,
yes.
but that's not. I
But
mean,
then we have other classes, so like our
Right.
hands-on banking class, which I think is a phenomenal class.
oh, sure.
That is for fourth.
Most people need it. Period.
Right? You never thought about it. I've seen teenagers, because I work with teens too,
Sure.
that don't know how to write checks or how to
Yeah.
balance a checkbook. So
Exactly.
you'd be surprised. But that class is for 4th through 7th graders and their parents.
Okay.
And we actually only had 4 participants in that class. And that was a little disappointing for me, because I think that class should be well attended.
Right.
The great thing about that class is we actually give a $10 gift card to start their banking experience. And so it's 4 sessions, so they get $40 at the end of the session.
Oh my gosh.
So, yes, and that is actually in part by Wells Fargo. So they have been very helpful in getting that program up off the ground. But we need to just make sure parents know about that.
Okay. And Kimberly, we have got like 15 seconds.
Okay.
Give us the number to call and the address, and we'll go off
Well,
the
if
air.
they could go on the website, it tells them all about the classes. It's www.parentacademyslc.org.
Okay.
Or
And a phone number?
is 465-0528. Oh, again, 2 weeks on the job, and I'm not even sure that that's the right number.
No, that's great.
But if they could go to the website, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
so much, and great luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.